A local pharmacy accused of discrimination after a woman says they refused to give her father the COVID vaccine. She says the pharmacist wouldn't give him the shot because he did not have proper identification. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn. We're on your side tonight, digging deeper into this story. And Katu has learned it was against company policy to turn him away. K2's Catherine Kissel is live with the story. And Catherine, what did the company have to say about this?
Well, yeah, Steve, we heard from the Rite Aid corporate office tonight, and they admit that the associate did make a mistake. But the woman we talked to is wondering how often this is happening.
I think that's what I was holding on to the most. The fact that I was just so close to having my parents go in there by themselves, you know, and it's like, what would have happened then?
It's a legitimate question Martha Munoz still thinks about days after her ordeal at this Rite Aid in Tigard last Sunday. It started last month. Even before making the appointment for her father, Martha checked the Rite Aid website just to double check the policy, knowing her father didn't have proof of identification or insurance.
Right off the bat, Rite Aid's website states that you will not be turned away if you do not have an ID or insurance. So when I scheduled the appointment, I was very confident. I was very sure that there was going to be no problem.
Martha says there was a problem immediately.
She's saying that she needs a form of ID or insurance, in which at that moment I let her know that we don't have those with us.
Martha says at that point the pharmacist refused to give her father the vaccine.
Sorry, I can't do it. Like, I can't prove that it's him. I'm not doing it.
We went to that Rite Aid in Tigard to get some answers about what happened here last Sunday. We were told they're unauthorized to speak with us and that we needed to contact corporate. Corporate did respond, saying in part that they're committed to making COVID-19 vaccines easily accessible for our customers to help keep our communities healthy and bring an end to this pandemic. In this instance, our associate at this location made a mistake.
I honestly could not sleep because of how upsetting this was or frustrating this was.
Martha still wonders what would have happened if she wasn't there.
I can't imagine any other people that are, let's say, in the same situation as my dad that can't prove ID or insurance. And it's like, who is able to get this out there for them to notice that pharmacists aren't knowing their own, company's policies.
Been seeing posts from a local Molalla Facebook group talking about the board's decision to lift the mask mandate or at least make it optional in school starting on March 3rd. We have reached out to board members to confirm that information. But once it is confirmed, then that will make them the third school district in Oregon to make that decision, lifting the mask mandate prior to the state allowing them to do so. The Oregon Department of Education is telling schools that they need to wait until March 31st to make masking optional. But the Alsea School District has been defying that since January 16th. Meanwhile, the Redmond School Board in Central Oregon just voted to make masking optional starting on March 2nd. In the meantime, we know that protests have been underway at the Molalla River School District. In a letter to parents yesterday, district leadership said at the secondary level, students were exercising the right to protest. Student safety, one of our primary responsibilities, was difficult to manage during this time. Additionally, they said that the protests made it difficult for teaching to happen, and that's the reason that they decided to cancel classes this morning. Angelica.
Dan, the district took aim at state leadership as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's part of the resolution that they posted on their website to discuss the lifting of mask mandates and making it optional starting on March 3rd. I want to give you a brief snippet of it here. It in part reads that the Oregon Department of Education has placed educators in an impossible situation to choose to educate or not educate a student based on mask compliance. Again, we're going to update this story as soon as we hear from board members and get confirmation that they did, in fact, pass that resolution last night.
The very people whose jobs it is to support our students and our schools, those positions are being cut.
Portland public school leaders plan to cut some positions to deal with enrollment losses. However, this does not mean employees are getting fired. K2's Genevieve Rayoma is live for us in Southwest Portland.
So, Genevieve, how many students is the district losing?
Well, Deb, just yesterday, PPS told us it was expecting an enrollment loss of 8%. That is the equivalent of 2 Lincoln High Schools worth of students, and it is certainly going to have an impact on staffing.
Good morning.
Next school year, PPS is projecting a loss of 3,400 students.
Just like any district in America, when we have declining enrollment, that means that we have to, tighten the way that we operate.
The district says it was able to use state and one-time federal funds to keep more than 40 student-facing roles in the coming school year, despite the enrollment decline's impact on funding. But the Portland Teachers Union says PPS will still cut 120 positions.
Teachers are beside themselves, angry and upset that in a time when we have been calling out all year that we need more supports for students, the district's response is to cut supports to students.
PPS didn't note exactly how many positions it's dissolving, but says it's not planning to fire anyone.
The hope is that there will be no layoffs.
Instead, PPS is looking to reassign those employees to other jobs in the district. The union president fears taking away certain positions will push people out altogether.
Every single one of those educators who is getting notified in the coming week that they're losing their position with the students they know, with the community they love, with the team they've been working with, those teachers are going to be looking for jobs in other districts or looking to leave the profession.
So here's how that reassignment would work to try and prevent having to let any educators go. Let's say there is an educational assistant here at Lincoln and that position is getting dissolved. That position would go away, but the educator would stay employed with PPS. What PPS would then do is wait to see if there's another opening. Say an educational assistant at a different high school retires, and then they can transfer that educator to the other high school without having to let them go entirely.